Hi, everybody. Nice to be here with you. And I'm very glad to come after Mark. And I'm always amazed when I listen to you. And the question I have to ask is there someone from the French government here? No? So I don't know how we can touch French government, but have you seen how it has been going in UK with government? And we have to do the same in France. And the French government, they don't know yet about off-site building. So we have a lot of job to do here. I'm not an engineer. I've been, I didn't like school, and so I went very early working in a building sector because my father was working in wood construction, and I started to create a company 40 years ago, which is called Hors-Site, and I bring in France timber frame construction, which was absolutely unknown 40 years ago, and it has been a quite a long way, but at least wooden construction is starting now really in France, and it is a very good thing. When I wanted to bring wooden houses in France, it was for two things. The first thing was climate, environment, and it was 40 years ago. We are not speaking that much of climate, but now we are speaking a lot. And I think it's a very, very important point. And you know how it is, growth of population and urbanization. They are saying that we will have towns about 100 million people in Africa. And it is growing all over the world. People are going in towns because in towns you find jobs and you can have your kids at school. And so if we go on using the same system as we are using now, we are just going in a very big mess. So we have to care of our planet. That's the first point. The second point was when you are working with wood, when you build houses with wood, very, very fast you think it is nicer to go prefab in a small shop or in a factory because it is outside so difficult. And so I started with prefab 40 years ago, and it was something very, very interesting. And so these two things, it's climate change and also prefab, which were the two things very important for me. Well, and climate change, we are speaking a lot. But the children, they are going in the street and they are saying to people like me, with my age, or someone here, and they say, look, you are preparing our planet. And what you are doing, we don't like, and we don't want anymore. So you have to do something now, very fast. And the way we are building actually is concrete. The first thing is concrete. The first reflex is concrete. And concrete is absolutely a marvelous material. Absolutely, we can do amazing things with concrete. And in some uses, you can't do it with another material. It is really unique. But it has an absolutely amazing impact on the climate. So, you know, building is using 50% of all the resources of the planet. And when we build a building, we do not think what's going when the building is going to be too old. And what we do mostly is we throw it away. So we take the resource, we use for short time. If you look on the planet, 100 years or 200 years is very short time, and we throw it away. And it goes on like this, and it's not possible to continue. Second thing is concrete is 8% of gas, it's absolutely amazing. Do you know how much it is for a aircraft or plane for traveling? It's only 3%. So you see how much it is. And you see that China is using every 2 years as much as concrete as US used during the 20th century. And it's going to be the same in Africa. It's going to be the same in India. So it's not possible to go on like this. Well, another thing is, Mark, talk about that, it's productivity. Real estate company, housing is a real mess now. It's this game, you know this game, eh? You go front for 4 piece and you go back for 5, and it is the way we are building. It's very complicated, very, very complicated. And I think there's something that we do not saw, and it's, for instance, when we were building 40 years ago, we had about 65, 70%, which is what we call gros œuvre, structural works, yes, and only 35, 30 for technical things. And now it is absolutely the opposite. So structural works is only 30, 35%, and it's going quite well. The company using concrete, they are doing this very well. But then starts job on site with a lot of people speaking any language. 50% of people are not coming from the country, and they are not speaking the same language, and they are making buildings more and more complex. Well, I don't think it can go on like this for a long time. This you know, Mark? I'm sorry, it's in French. I'm using mostly in France. So we have a few reports. One is McKinsey, KPMG, Boston Consulting, and one of Mark Farmer, Modernize or Die. All these reports are pointing the same things. Productivity is very bad. It is also, because of fragmented organizations, and margins are much too weak. And it is going on because the skills are going away, and it's going to increase very fast. You know, Mark, this report from Finland. They say they give to people on building sites some chips with a GPS, and for 2 years they follow the people everywhere in the world on building sites, and they analyze the data, and they saw that the people were mostly not on the building site. Only 34% they were on the building site. So where are they the rest of the time? They are moving around. For instance, I'm a plumber. I have to make a bathroom on the 4th floor. So I have to come to the building site. I'm living 1.5 hours from here. And then I have to go on the 4th floor. And I go on the 4th floor. I have to bring my tools, because if I leave my tools there, then somebody is going to steal me. And so I go back, and I took my bath, and I go up, and I open the bath, and something is wrong, and so I have to go down. You know what I mean. So, and they are also looking for informations, looking for tools and materials, and they have seen that sometimes materials can be moved 8 times on the building site. It is absolutely no value for the customer. And in France, we see the iceberg coming. The insurance says it's a SMA BTP, yes, French company is about 1/3 of insurance in construction, and they say between 2016 and 2008, the price of sinistrality of a construction is 75% more than it was, 75%. And we have a more complex system of insurance in France that I think that we have in the world. It is also a report from UFC Que Choisir, and they were looking on housing sale in a system VEFA by real estate companies, and they said the delivery time is on average 4 to 5 months more than it should be. And it, of course, the customer has to pay for that. And at the end, we are not able to have a perfect apartment. So there's a lot of things wrong, and it is 3 times more than it was. And in France, with the financial crisis 2008, we had the price went down 25%, something, and it stayed so for 10 years. And now it's going to open the pan, and prices are rising very, very fast because companies, they can't stand it anymore. I have been very interested by the industry, and with Hors-Site, I create a factory and another one, and people were coming to the factory and say, oh, look, you are really industrial people with this factory and CNC machines. But I thought we were not. We were just building company. And I wanted to make a step to industry, real industry, and I've done something very stupid. I bought a factory which was making toasters. And I bought the factory, and I got the people from the toasters. There were 50, with 70% women. And we transformed this factory from a factory of toasters to timber frame houses, and then to pods, bathroom pods, and then to modules. And it is working since 11 years. We have been building, I think, something like 6,000 houses in this factory, with the girls who were making toasters. And I learned so much with them. I learned so much. And I think in building construction, we have we do not see industry very well, and we think industry like Charlie Chaplin in modern terms, you know, modern the movie. It's dirty, and it's all this. Industry is really something very amazing, and I think in the industry, what's very important is human being. When you have 2,000 people in a factory, you must think to them first. So I have been looking at the difference between industry and what we were doing. In industry, we are working in a collaborative organization. We understand what means standardization. And because we understand that, we are able to do continuous improvement. And it's the way we have products, all the products that we buy today, they are every year better and better quality, and every year cheaper to buy. In our building world, well, we are in a fragmented organization. Real estate company, and the architect, and the engineers, and the enterprise and the companies, and it is not working. So I was looking for what are the reasons of this productivity very, very bad. And this one for me is the first one, fragmented organization. And this brings us the very low quality. Non-quality is about 30%, so I think a third of the building you waste, you throw away. In the industry, it's less than 1%. So you see the gap. And the second reason of this low productivity, for me, of course, it is only my point of view, is what I called bespoke product. Every time we are building something, we think that we have to create it from scratch because it is in a special place and for special people. And we are making absolute prototype always. And we even do it when it is absolutely not necessary. It is, the culture is we are doing bespoke products. And when you hear salesmen, they say, oh, miss, we are going to make for you the bespoke apartment. Well, I have an example very funny. Someone asked to me to build a just normal Ibis hotel, 120 rooms, out of module. And when you want to make a hotel out of module, you have to look how many type of room do you have. If you have too much, and it is just not possible to build in factory because it needs so much energy to draw. And I've been counting the rooms in a just normal Ibis hotel. It was not very complicated land, nothing was wrong. 18 type of rooms. The question is, why? Why? It's just because we are not used on standardization, and we hate this word. Standardization, it means that we will all have the same house. And what is value for the customer? You have all, I think, been in a Ibis hotel, and you think, when you are a customer, that all the room of Ibis hotel in the world, they are the same. So to have 18 difference, it's not, you don't care. And it is not Mr. Ibis who asked that. It is the system where we are. Because there's only one person in the world counting the room, it's me. If you do this building on a normal system, you do not count the room. The concrete company is going to put concrete, and the plumber is going to put the bath, and at the end you will have 18 different rooms, and nobody cares. Only the girl which is going to clean the rooms. And of course, benefit is none, and problems guarantee for everyone. So the question is, where is the value to reinvent the wheel every day? And we have been looking for this hotel to make it out of a minimum of rooms, and we were able to do it with 3 rooms. Left and a right, and a special for people. So, this is an example of a company, you know, maybe you heard about this company, is Citizen M. And they are developing the company all over the world with only 1 room. 1 room. This room is made out of module, produced in Poland, and they deliver all over the world the hotels. And they say, if you go on their website, they say, we only have a room. So do not look for another one, we have 1. But it is the best room. And because we have only 1 room, we have very, very beautiful lobby and very beautiful places to live. And it's really user experience, absolutely marvelous. This is a slide, you know, from HTA. It's architect in London. They're working a lot with Hors-Site, and they say we are working more and more with Hors-Site because it is so interesting for us architects. And so on this slide, you compare the 2 projects. One is Hors-Site, one is classic. The blue one is classic. And you see here the time, and there the hours from the team of architects. And you see the first mountain here is the design of a construction. And here is when we start building on site. And what you see is it is about the same amount of hours if you are building off-site or classic. But what you see is there's another mountain starting when you build on-site. So there's a lot of hours for the architect and also, of course, for everyone when the building is starting. Why? Because classically, on a classic construction, we are not choosing, we are not going to 100% of choice. We stop to 90% or 95%. I'm designing here the building. If I have to choose tiles, for instance, for bathroom, there's no way that this tiles, which is going to put here, has not been changing by someone. So I do not choose. If I do it on with modules, for instance, in my hotel, I have to choose here. I have to choose here to have the rooms completely finished on site on a good moment. HCA say it is 70% more productivity for us to do off-site. In 80s, we bought this nice Renault 5 car, and it cost you 40 months salary. Now we bought this one, which is absolutely amazing car, and it only costs 10 months salary. We bought a flat, and it cost you 5 years salary. Now it is 9. What's happened? We are not fabricating the cars now like we were doing 40 years ago. Everything is changing. We are now on a system platform with a standardization, and we can have 1 million options on a car, but they are using standard components. And the efficiency, which is the time where I pay an employee compared to the time where he's really doing job with value. 85% in the best industry. Do you know how much it is in building construction? 20%? Do you think it is possible to go on like this? It is not. So, the way is built off-site. This is an hotel in Amsterdam, absolutely marvelous. And what's very important, I think, with building off-site is building off-site. It means that we are not going to build the building there, but some in another place. Can be 2 kilometers, can be 200 kilometers. And this is very important. We can do it with panels or with modules. We can use timber, steel, concrete. We can mix the two. Here we have a concrete floor and a timber. And we bring it on site. And you have the best hotel bedroom that you can ever find. And the hotel, when you go to visit it, is just marvelous. So what's important with off-site? It means that you are able to produce 60%, 70% of the building in another place. And you know that building construction is a lot of van. The people that have to come every morning, and they have to go every evening. And we have to bring them all the material. So if you do 70%, 200 kilometers, and you bring in one time a complete module finished, it saves a lot of traffic, and that's very good for towns. Well, a lot of advantages. And when you build off-site, you assembly. And it means that tomorrow you can disassembly. So think differently. Okay, we can do anything with off-site. This is in Wembley in London, and I've been with a lot of French groups there. And we go in front of the building, and I ask, well, just tell me which one is modular. And nobody knows. On this picture, they are all modular except the number one. What we have to understand, it's something very different. We are thinking on site with segmented organization. And if we want to succeed, we have to think industrial. It means DFMA, design for manufacture. That's the important thing you have to understand. We have to think design for manufacture. And that's the key. So I'll go very fast. It's also possible not only for new construction, but for rehabilitation. Of course, it's going very good with BIM because it is the same. With BIM, we are looking for standardization and collaborative organization. So, Mark, you speak about what's coming now, because, of course, when we are in a traditional company for buildings, we can think, oh, yes, this is a lot of speaking, but, well, we have time. But the thing is, it is going on all over the world. And you spoke about Goldman Sachs and Amazon and etc. I want to have just a focus on two things. This one is Catera. And you have a tap here. And you are wondering why he is showing a tap to speak about Catera. And they have a sentence I love. They say, infinite choice is a nightmare. And the way we are building now is that we have so much possibility of material, of equipment, of anything. It's just amazing what we can do. And we pick things and we try to put it together because they are nice, but sometimes they are not good together. And it is the one on site which is going to manage that. And Catera, they say it is a nightmare, so we have to make some choice. And for instance, they were looking on the taps, and they say what we want in our construction is to have four things. The first thing is it has to be designed, beautiful. Second, it has to be good quality to stay long. Third, it has to be easy to use. And fourth, it has to be economic. And we have been looking millions of taps around the world, and we never found one with the four. So we made it. So they designed the tap, and they are producing the tap. One is for the kitchen, one is for the bath, one is for the shower, one is for I don't know what. And they are using those steps in their 7 billion orders. And I think tomorrow it's going to be something that you will buy very expensive because it is Catera tape. Second thing is in London. It is a team. They are working together since a few years. HTA we spoke about, architects, and a company called Hors-Site Construction and Vision Modular. It is a general contractor connected to a prefab, modular prefab. They are connected together. And they have a customer which is Greystar, which is an American company. And they are making a lot of business together in a collaborative way, using Hors-Site. This program is about 2,000 houses in London. It's an amazing program. And Greystar chose Hors-Site because of the security of the budget, safety on time, delivery, safety and quality, and also environmental performance. They made a report to compare traditional system and Hors-Site. And they found that it is from 9 to 30% better than the classic system. And it is out of modules, out of steel, could be better if they use timber. And it is what we are building now. It's 2 towers, 44 stories high with the same system. It's going very fast. Well, what is the challenge? Thinking of the future of our children on this planet. Think of uses. You know, Brian Evans from the school in UK is saying we learn to design schools from the inside to the outside. The use first and the outside then. And mostly we are making the nice design outside and we do what we can inside and give our collective energy on the right place, not on 18 bedrooms in a stupid Ibis hotel. Well, what I'm doing here in France is try something very difficult, change the culture of building people. So I am editing a magazine, Hors-Site, which is a translation of Hors-Site. There's some here. Organizing some trips, seminars in foreign countries. We have been a lot in London. Organizing event. We are organizing now an event in Batimat, which is a worldwide show of a building in France. It's from 4 to 8 November. So we will have a show for Hors-Site show with an Hors-Site event. Mark is going to speak. Thank you very much, Mark. Also, I'm bringing in France a school to train how to think Hors-Site. And it is the Hors-Site School Management in UK, which we have a partnership, and we are bringing that in France. We also have a consultancy cabinet, and we are working with customers. And the last thing is we are working with generative design, and but I have been amazed at what you show us. We are only a very small scale. Thank you.